know what, Mary? Why don't you and Dr. Margaret go? You guys pray for everybody at church. You guys could go. But God had chosen me. You see, when God does something, He appoints the person. So Mary said, okay, I'll leave it up to you. She didn't press the issue. She didn't pursue it. She asked me again, do you want to go? And I go, I don't know. And when my wife gives me excuses, I always tell her, stop giving me excuses. So finally his wife comes out and she says, excuse me, could I help you guys with something? And Mary said, Dr. Margaret asked us to come and pray for Gus. She says, oh, you know what, it's not a good day. How you doing? And I asked him that. And I told him, how are you? He goes, I've had better days. And I told him, you know what? We talked for about 15 minutes. He goes, you know what? He was angry. He was upset that he wasn't eating. And I could understand that because I went through that. And when God wanted me to go out and pray for him, that's because I had gone through it. There's no one that knows what that person was going through, but someone that has gone through it. And I told Gus, I know exactly what you're going through. You're feeling pains in your bones. You're feeling abdominal pains. You're feeling nauseated. He goes, yeah. And I told him, you know what, the best thing you can do is try to walk a little, drink a lot of water. You try to force yourself to eat. Walk. Oxygen in your system actually helps. And I asked him if we could pray for him. He said, yeah, that would be great. He was so grateful that we showed up to pray for him. So grateful. My point is, that's what it's all about. Sometimes we are facing our giant, but our giant is to stop us from God's will. Is to stop us from what God has positioned us to do. The man passed away, but the man was at peace. I felt so guilty. I said, God, why did he die? He goes, it's my choice whether he lives or dies. But he surrendered his life to God. It was about his salvation. That's what it was about. That's why God needed me to show up, because it was about his salvation. Psalms 91, 2 and 6. I will say to the Lord, you are my refuge, my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. For he will deliver me from the snare of the fowler and the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is his shield and his buckler. You will not fear the terror by night, nor the arrow that flies by day, or the pestilence that stalks you by darkness, nor the destruction that wastes at noonday. Fear not, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. One thing I've realized, God will fight with us, but he will not fight. We got to do our fighting too. We can't sit back and not fight. We can't expect God to do all our fighting. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod, thy staff, they comfort me. Thou present a table before the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and it runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall overflow all the days of my life, and dwell in the house of the Lord forever. You see, God prepared David for leadership. God prepared him as a shepherd boy in Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. You know, as I said, I'm a cancer survivor, and 10 years ago, I had cancer. And I want to say that's one of my biggest battles. And, you know, when I was going through cancer, Mary asked me a question: what do you want for your 50th birthday? I was turning 50 this year. I just turned 60. God is good. God is good. And she asked me, what do you want for your birthday? And I said, I don't want a party. I don't really want anything. I'm good. I used to be a club promoter, so I don't like parties. I just don't like parties. I'm an introvert. So I just like being at home. So to her, that she likes to be out doing something. She likes to be with family. I just like being at home. And I told her, after a while, it sat in. I go, you know what? I know what I want. I want to be closer to God. I want to be the best father. I want to be the best communicator. But I didn't see how that was going to happen. When God has a plan, He makes things happen for a purpose. My point is, He allowed cancer to happen in my life, to draw me closer to Him. And I had to depend on God for everything that was happening. You know, for those of you that don't know, it was called Ewing sarcoma. Ewing sarcoma is a bone cancer that is very rare. It usually grows between kids and 30-year-olds. I was turning 50, so it was very strange. I had 17 rounds of chemo. Chemo was literally kicking my butt. I was bald, I was swollen, my bones hurted, everything. And when they put my port on, I had a vision that God had healed me. And I told Mary, you know, God healed me. God healed me. And she got really happy. And I told her, hold on a second. God healed me. But I'm still going to feel the pain. I'm still going to feel the anxiety. I'm still going to feel the sickness. And at the time, we didn't understand why. Sometimes we stop and we say, why is this happening? There's a purpose. God allows it for a purpose. The reason I was supposed to feel that is so I could relate to that person that is feeling that. And I told her, God allowed it to happen so that I could understand a person that is going through that. I got sick. My wound got infected. I remember when I was turning 50, that next regimen, and I told my doctor, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. He looked at me and he says, you have to complete your regimens. And I told him, well, you just told me by the biopsy, there's no more cancer cells. I'm good. So we don't have to complete it. God chose the doctors that were going to be treating me. God chose the doctors, God chose the nurses. And I want to tell you that when God has a plan, He'll choose every person that is in your life. But God chose those doctors. God chose each and every one of the doctors that were going to operate on me, to the oncologist. When I met with him, he tells me, Art, you can do whatever you want, but if you don't do this, you will die. Sometimes, when you talk to someone that's like me, and I told him, because my regimens were every 2.5 weeks. Every 2 weeks, where really, it was getting me sick. So I told him, well, could I do this? Could I do it every 2.5 weeks? He said, you can do whatever you want, but you have to complete it. So what I did, I switched it every 2.5 weeks. I needed to get my strength because it was really bad. And I remember the first oncologist that we met with. They did all my treatment at City of Hope. God picked that hospital. God picked that hospital. The first oncologist that I met with, we met with him for 2 hours, and at that point, I was done. I was like, how many have seen Charlie Brown? Remember the teacher? After the first 15 minutes, I zoned out. I was like, just talk to my wife. I need to get out of here. I can't even focus anymore. I couldn't focus. It was too much information. Finally, after 2.5 hours, I told him, just break it down. What's the hardest thing that I'll face? He goes, the hardest thing that you're going to face is mental. I go, okay. And how many times have we heard that the battle's in the mind? The battle's in the mind. And even God chose that doctor to tell me that. That's amazing. He didn't do any of my treatment. All he had to do was give me that message. And I told him, I got this. God is in my side. When I wanted to quit my chemo, I remembered what that doctor had said. Art, the battle is in the mind. The battle is in the mind. And I got my second whip, and I continued. Every battle that you're facing, every giant that you're facing, God's allowing it not to destroy you, to build you up. Romans 8:31. When shall we say these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? We see that David defeated Goliath. How different would it have been if David wouldn't have defeated Goliath? I want you guys to think about that for a second. Israel wouldn't have been probably Israel, because they would have been captive by the Philistines. They would have been defeated. And what I'm trying to say is, there's people out there counting on you, counting on us, and we get so caught up on our own giants that stop us from other people. Psalms 143:11. Quicken me, O Lord, for thy name's sake. Thy righteousness' sake, bring my soul out of trouble. A couple weeks ago, I met this young man at the gym, and I don't talk to anybody at the gym. I don't take my cell phone. I don't talk to anybody. I'm just there to do my workout. And I get there usually at 2 in the morning. And the reason I do that is I have more strength. I can do my workout and usually just get in and out. Well, I met this young guy and a friend of his. We just started saying hi, how you doing? And just small talk. See him in the locker room, and we kept running into each other. Then I saw him alone. And he kept saying, hey man, he kept asking me little tips. So I gave him little tips. We started talking. So I saw him in the sauna. We kept running into each other. Now, some people might say that's a coincidence. You saw him at the gym. I don't think so. One day I ran into him, and he's walking with his head down. And I told him, hey Rob, how you doing? He goes, oh, I'm doing okay. I just found out my girlfriend's pregnant. So I let him talk, and I go, okay. This guy, young guy, he's probably just having fun, which he thought he was having fun. And he's telling me, I just don't know I don't know, what she wants to do. I don't know if she wants to keep it. We're going to go for the ultrasound next week. At that point, I just wanted to vomit all over him and tell him what I wanted to say, but I didn't say it. I said, okay. God told me just stay quiet and hear him. So I did. I was thinking of the baby. And went home, and I kept thinking about it, and God really just kept putting it in my heart. And as I was thinking about it, I ran into him the next day. And I told him, no, a couple of days later, I ran into him, and I go, hey Rob, how you doing? And he goes, oh, I'm doing okay. We did get the ultrasound. This guy shows me, he's got the picture in his phone. And I go, so how do you feel about that? He goes, well, you know what? I don't want to pressure her. It's her body, her choice. I felt like saying, hey, well, she made the choice before. But I didn't. I go, how do you feel about that? He goes, I'm against abortion, but I'm letting her choose. So I just told him, Rob, is it okay if I give you some advice? He goes, yes, please. I go, look, whether you think it's a baby or just a fetus or it's not living, it is living. And that baby is counting on you, is counting on her, is looking at you to rescue him. Make the right choice. If you don't want the baby, you can always give the baby up for adoption. You can always find a better option. He goes, you know what? I'll raise the baby on my own. And when he said that, I was like, okay, so now I could speak. In other words, he needed the encouragement. And I go, Rob, I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy. I'm not going to say it's going to be hard. But you know what? Every young parent goes through difficulties, especially financial. But, hey, make the right choice. Make the right choice, and I guarantee you, you're going to find a way. Sometimes God puts people in our life, in our path, just to encourage them. He needed to be encouraged. And it's about that baby's life. So many babies are aborted right now. Who knows? They'll be doctors, lawyers. That's our future. And that's all I kept thinking about. Sometimes we overthink things, but all we have sometimes is faith. We compare ourselves to other people. We say, I'm not good enough. We overthink things. We seek people's approval. But what God wants is to seek Him first. At the end of the day, all we want is God to say, well done and faithful servant. I'm going to end with this video. Before you leave, I would like you to come up. To me, there's no such thing as that's just a small giant I'm facing. The giants that you're facing stop us from the purpose of God. Stop us from your calling. Stop us from whatever you're going through. But with that being said, that is not for your destruction. It's to build you up. God has a purpose. If God had you here today, God had a message for you. I'll end with this video.
The warrior who defeats him will be a rich man.
Not one man in Israel! Not one of God's people!
I'll do it. You're no soldier, you're a shepherd.
Yes, a shepherd. So I protect my sheep, God will protect me.
Where is your faith? Where is your God?
I will kill him. You'll need this.
I'll be better without it. Though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. You are with me. Thy rod and staff, they comfort me. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
Israel is now the champion! Don't waste my time, little boy. You're too young to die.
I will fight you!
I will go ahead and bless you and release you. I believe there's some refreshments downstairs if you so choose. If you want a fellowship, we'll ask if you can do it in the foyer downstairs as we're going to be praying going on. With that being said, if you want prayer, come on up and we'll ask you to pray for you. If I can have you stand up and raise your hands. Yahweh Yahweh, Vayish Mereka. Ya'er Yahweh, Panavalecha, Vichunan. Isa Yahweh, Panavalecha, Vayasem Lecha. Shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen. Have a blessed Shabbat.